my not horrible till it was horrible experience with The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for the Nintendo Wii system. Alright, so I'm going to give y'all the whole story on Twilight Princess. And both times I played the game. Both times, I've owned the game. The Wii version. I've never really owned the GameCube version in my life. Or played it. So, I only have the Wii one to go off of, right? And the reason why I'm being so particular and specific with the title and all that, with the Wii version and the GameCube version, is because I don't know if I'm ever going to play the GameCube or the HD version one day. So, I'm very unpredictable with these things. But, so, let's start with the first time. So, the first time I ever got Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, for the Wii, I pretty much, I got it one day. I can't remember the exact day, but I remember getting it one day. I think it was from Zia Records as well. So both times I got it from Zia Records, funny enough, I think. I could be wrong, right? I picked it up. I think I used my points on it at the time. And because I was like, you know what? I want to play another Legend of Zelda game. Because, it's kind of like the Mario and Luigi situation where, every so often or every other time, I feel like I need to play something in this particular series just so I can have... So just so I could say, I fucking did it. You know what I mean? And I was thinking, after Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask that I did over 5 years ago, in terms of the review, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me do another, Zelda game to kind of, Myron, 33, welcome to the channel, welcome to the page. Lucas, welcome to the page. How you doing? But, I decided to give it a play because it's been a while since I played Zelda, and I kind of want to play it again. So, me and Louie boot up, Legend of Zelda. I asked him to help me out, and I remember, the only thing I can remember is I did not get far with Twilight Princess for the Wii. So keep this in mind, right? As well as, Twilight Princess for the Wii, the controls are different. You're playing with Wiimote and Nunchuck where you have to shake. Well, you don't have to shake. You can also press, like, A and the other buttons on the controller to do things. But I'm playing with the Wiimote and Nunchuck. So not the normal control scheme like a GameCube controller or a fucking PlayStation controller or, whatever. I'm not doing the usual ways to play the game. Since Twilight Princess for the Wii only allows the Wiimote and Nunchuck to be controlled, in this game. But, I remember, really not understanding what I was doing, and I was getting frustrated at just everything the game stood for back then. And I didn't even, it was so bad, right, guys, that I didn't even get out of the dungeon in Twilight Princess. I remember making it past the beginning part, and then, getting stuck in, the Twilight prison cell, which is very early on in the game. And I remember after that, I sent it back. I didn't look back. I didn't really care. I didn't really, look back at the game at all, wanted to play it. I just wanted it out of my house. Immediately. It was one of the quickest games. I said, yep, get it out of my house. Right? So, many months later, I actually completely forgot about this memory, and until I booted up the game again, and I decided to go to Z Records, on the 11th of this month, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go find a Wii game, because this scenario is pretty much like, hey, Louie, why don't you cop me up, $30 real quick through Zia or Chime or whatever, and let me go see down there at Z Records, because Louie at the time, he only had, $40, and he didn't want to spend $40, because I was like, yo, I kind of want Mario Kart Wii, or, the Wii Motion Plus / Wii Motion Plus video game for the Wii and stuff, for more content stuff. I was asking for that, or Mario Kart, or whatever the fuck, something Mario related or whatever. And, he didn't want to do that, so he decided to give me 30, and I asked him, can we do a compromise? Can I just go see what's at Zia Records real quick, right? So, I go over to Zia Records, I see what's down there real quick, and I see a lot of games, but a lot of them were, mostly shovelware games. So, not a lot of them were interesting or all that good, right? So I go over, I find Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for the Wii because for some reason the Wii game is always available. The GameCube version is never available, right? But I find the Wii version of of Twilight Princess. I decided to pick that up since that was literally the most interesting game there. That was Wii. And I did see Metroid Prime, but I didn't go for that because I already played Metroid Prime 1 through the remastered version. So on my Switch, when I had my Switch and stuff. But anyway, so I bought it not remembering what happened to me last time. And I wanted to do something a little different. So I decided to, I think it was either the next day or a couple days later, I decided to start up a Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess Wii series on my YouTube channel, and I have 2 streams of it, like part 1 and then the finale. So you can see where I say finale, you already know where it's gonna go, right? So I got the game. I decided as well when in this session, because you guys already know how bad I am when it comes to playing video games like Zelda, like Devil May Cry, like Bayonetta, a lot of those games where navigation is fucking key, right? So I decided to have my brother Louie and Chris with me to at least help me. Because I knew on my own when playing Twilight Princess, and I know people might be thinking, oh wow, Alan needed to be baby just for him to play Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And if that's what you think, go ahead and think that, because I can't play a Zelda game by myself, you know, or I can barely do that nowadays, or just not even, it's not even because I'm scared of the Zelda game or anything. My attention span when it comes to shit and when I get lost has just been getting worse and worse and worse as the years go on, right? So I'm not really like the same person as I was 5 years ago where I'm trying to endure it. I just feel like, get this shit out of my face. I don't want to do with it. I don't want to deal with this no more. I like my thought process, or however I should say it, I'm trying to word it like the best I can. I can't word it right now. But my eagerness to deal with stuff is just not in it, right? Most of the time. Most of the time it's just not in it. I'm not in it. I don't really care. I can't really do all this. So, but another reason is, you know, in Zelda stuff, I can't really figure a lot of things out on my own. And I won't lie, like, you know, we had a lot of fun, me, Louie, and Chris. We were basically going to do at least, like, weekly sessions of Twilight Princess until the game was over, right? That was my goal. Bring Louie and Chris along for the ride. They helped me get through the game in some way, shape, or form. That's literally the whole point of not just them coming along. And plus, I think it would make the Zelda game more enjoyable. So that's what I thought was going to happen, right? So we have one full play session of good times, funny laughs, all that other sort of shit, right? And, you know, the first session was really good. So I was assuming that the second session was going to be even funnier than the first session because we would bring up random shit when we're playing Twilight Princess, random conversations. I would have questions about the series that I would ask Louie and Chris, because keep in mind, Louie and Chris are way more into Zelda than I am. They played way more Zelda than I have, so it's like, you know, I'm the one that's asking them questions, you know, to kind of keep the stream a little interesting and all that other sort of stuff. Because I did bring up a good point, you know, depending on what Zelda you're watching, it can be one of the most boring things you can watch or one of the most entertaining things you can watch. There's no middle ground with Zelda games, at least in my opinion, in terms of watching them on YouTube through stream or watching them just in general. Anyways, I digress, right? So I decided one morning to ask Renee YT at 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning, hey, are you down for Twilight later today? And Ronnie responded later saying, yeah, I will. I'll get on. This is the second session. This is the session that kind of ended things. I already asked Louie the day prior, hey, you want to do Twilight Princess with me and all that other sort of stuff. And, yeah, how we started this session off was not good. I only got 3 hours of sleep that respective night because I hung out with Nick all the way until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning the day before that session, which was yesterday, right? Yesterday was the Twilight Princess session 2. or final session. But the night before that, before we did session 2, I stayed up till 2 to 3 in the morning. And Ronnie woke up at 3 in the morning and only got like 2 hours of sleep. So me and Ronnie were already pretty sleep deprived. Louis got like at least 6, maybe 6 to 7 hours of sleep. 5, 6 hours. Because I wake him up early. You guys know me. I do my videos / my streams early in the morning, like 6 o'clock, 6:50, 7 o'clock-ish, whatever. That's like the time period I do all my stuff because I like having the afternoon and all that stuff to myself. Unless I feel like I want to stream something else like that day, then I'll just continuously stream. Anyways, so I got them both in here. The session started out great, but the more and more we got into it, the more and more I think fed up of it I was getting. And the more I think angry everyone was kind of getting. Because keep this in mind, when I play a Zelda game, or when I play a game that I usually never play, sometimes, or depending on the game, I take a very long time to pass up what it is in question. So, for example, I think I can use my Twilight Princess footage for this, or another game. Let's just use a random game, for example. Wii Sports, right? Me trying to go for a platinum. Let's use that as an example, right? Every time I try to go for a platinum in Wii Sports, I end up taking a ridiculous amount of time. Like, for example, dodging platinum's platinum. Instead of 30 minutes of struggling, I spent over an hour, 16 minutes struggling. That's pretty much what my thought process or that's pretty much the process of me when it comes to me struggling. When I figure shit out, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I know what I'm doing. It doesn't take too long, right? But every time I get lost, I tend to get lost for a long time. I tend to get stranded for a long time. And keep this in mind, I don't have the brain like Louis or Rene YT when it comes to Zelda shit and figuring shit out. If I get lost or if I'm not figuring something out, my enjoyment of what I'm going through immediately goes downhill. And I really mean immediately goes downhill because I tend to not really enjoy what I'm playing anymore when I'm not having fun with it. Like when I'm going through boring ass bits, my enjoyment for it in the moment goes down and all that other sort of stuff. And I say the session with Twilight got so bad was because not only I was getting like Louis was misinforming me on where to go because it's been a while since he played. Ronnie was telling me where to go, but since the stream was delayed on his end, he couldn't exactly tell me where to go, what to do. And I ain't gonna lie, a mix of my enjoyment going down, like Ronnie's enjoyment going down, Louis' enjoyment going down, the fucking wooden temple dungeon stupid shit. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, the wood temple was taking so long and was dragging out, and progressively the more and more we got through the temple / the dungeon, I was getting more and more frustrated with not only how many things you have to do in just the first temple alone, but how long everything was taking, because not only the temple was long enough as it was, because, just doing each thing the right thing immediately, right? Again, I was also getting misinformed on where to go. I was always going the wrong way. I was always, like Louis was telling me you're going the wrong way there, or Chris was telling me I was going the wrong way there, and that shit was bothering me. Some shit in the dungeon, like for example, like hitting a bomb and then trying to hit it in this plant in time before the bomb blows up. There were so many sections of that was pissing me off. Or for example, if the monkeys weren't following me into rooms, or something, right? And I remember like the whole playthrough after a while got so negative because I remember Chris and Louie were like, okay, I guess we're just like no help, and the only thing that's making Alan happy was the monkeys, right? And keep in mind, I try to find ways, like if I'm not enjoying myself, I try to find ways to allow myself to enjoy what the hell is going on again. And, in the moment of those streams, it was the stupid-ass little monkeys that were allowing me to kind of keep somewhat cool during everything, because I ain't gonna lie, I was ready to drop Twilight Princess, like, halfway through, right? I was so ready to drop the game because I think the game is trash. I think it was one of the worst things I could have played. Because, again, keep in mind, right, I'm not good when it comes to navigating around areas, so it better be easy for me to do all these things so I can overall keep my enjoyment. Because again, when shit gets tough, I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy when shit gets tough, for me personally. I like it when I have a complete understanding of everything around me, or just so I can understand it enough so I can get through everything, right? But since that wooden temple was dragging out so long and the energy of all three of us was getting more and more negative the longer we were taking in that temple / dungeon, that I'm going to show you guys what ended up happening actually during like a part of it. I got to go near the end for it since it was a 2-hour 44 live stream that I spent on Twilight Princess. And originally I wasn't going to talk about it ridiculously early as I did, but you know, shit happens. I think it was like, I can't remember what part exactly it was, but I was getting so sick by, I think, the 2-hour mark.
Right.
Let me see. It was like this bomb bit. I remember this bomb bit. Hold on, let me go to the bomb bit. Alright. I was so sick by this point too, and like Louis could see it, but he doesn't comment on it. I don't think.
Are you joking, Link?
Yeah, that's a whole thing, and I know my footage isn't the best footage since I'm using this thing to stream it or whatever. Keep in mind, since you gotta aim everything with the Wiimote and nunchuck and shake things. Yeah, my arms were getting so bad, too, during that whole thing. It kind of felt like I was playing Wii Sports without even playing Wii Sports. In a way. But right here, I was kind of at my limit of figuring out what to do. And, trying to get the bomb. I think actually right here, right? Yeah, I was done. I was sick of it. I took the Wiimote off. Right? Yeah. As you can see, I was done. I was legit fed up, right? I tried to, okay, so in that moment, I was so tired of just going through the dungeon, doing what the dungeon was always asking me for, you know? Like, I wasn't even getting any satisfaction for figuring out the puzzles or doing anything in this dungeon by this point. I was just so fed up with everything. Like, and plus, the dungeon was giving me so little in return in terms of positive energy back and all that other sort of shit. You know, when I play Mario, at least I'm enjoying the movement, the overall flow of the game, the music's entertaining me, it's kind of keeping me in. A lot of things, like, tend to try to keep me in, right? And with Zelda, like, after so long being in that fucking shitty-ass, stupid-ass temple, which, in my opinion, I think every Zelda temple that is the first fucking one should not be so long. Should only be, like, 30 minutes tops. And keep in mind, whenever I play a game, that 30 minutes is already extended to maybe an hour and beyond because of how long I take doing some of these things. So keep that fuck-ass shit in mind whenever I try to do something like this, right? So, but again, back to what I was saying about that moment, right? Twilight Princess gets better later on. Well, it's too late because I'm never playing it again. I already gave it 2 times to redeem itself, and that was the second time when I played it on YouTube was the second time. But anyways, so what ended up happening was I screamed at the top of the camera. I think I had a chat because I threw the fucking chair on the bed because I was going to throw it at the fucking window or at the fucking wall, but I controlled myself in the nick of time and threw it on the fucking bed, right? Because I was so sick, or I was going to put a hole in the wall. I was gonna do a lot of fucking things that day, but I did it because I remembered what Dad and I talked about a long time ago during one of my Roblox streams about, like when I damaged the place or whatever the fuck, right? But I thought about that in the moment, and I just threw the chair on the bed. I screamed up to high heaven. I literally said, fuck this stupid shit. I'm done with this shitty dungeon. Get me the fuck out. I never want to play this game again because all it is just going on and on and on and on and on and on. And I just want it to end so I can move to the next temple or move to the next thing and fucking continue, right? Because that's my mindset when it comes to things when they take too long, is I just want to move on to the next thing. I don't want to be here anymore. I've already felt like I explored enough of the dungeon as it was, but yet the dungeon just felt like it was going to keep on going, even after all the times I got lost in that fucking piece of shit dungeon. And don't get me wrong, Louie and Chris, they helped to the best of their fucking ability, and I hope they don't feel like failures, because when I was on my walk back over there, after I said, fuck this goddamn game to hell, I sent it back, right, and I was trying to look for something else in the store, and see, Records, this is a message for you. Can you fucking have Mario Kart Wii or Wii Sports Resort or something good in that goddamn store so I can just pick it up and get the fuck out of there, please? Because god damn it, I tried doing some orders last night and none of it went through. Anyways, the whole fucking thing with that. But anyway, so after my big ass rant, I'm just ending that fucking horrible ass stream and horrible ass game, right? I decided to walk the fuck out because I was done. I literally picked up the game. I took it out of the disc. I said, never again. I'm not playing this again. I'm not even probably going to bother playing Zelda again. I'm not going to lie, because almost every single time I try to play Zelda, this type of shit happens. So I literally told myself that day that I don't think I'm ever playing Zelda again. I don't give a fuck if it's Tears of the Kingdom. I don't give a fuck if it's Breath of the Wild. I don't give a fuck if I'm at a friend's house. I am not playing Zelda ever again. You are not. I'll probably watch. That's like the best thing I'll do when it comes to Zelda. But I will never, ever step foot on playing one of their games ever again. Just never again. I don't want to go through the experience again. I really don't. I don't want to. But anyways, right? Let's go back to Louie and Chris, right? So after I fucking left, I kind of felt like I didn't feel bad for myself per se. Well, I did, but it was way later, right? But I was talking to myself on the way back, giving back their shitty fucking game, the shitty product. I don't know why Nintendo released it for the fucking Wii. Whatever, right? I felt like Louie and Chris probably thought themselves after I left as a failure. I don't know. I'm just assuming here, but I feel like Louie and Chris really either thought of themselves as failures because they failed to keep me in the game. Because keep in mind, again, it was really them that was keeping me to the game as long as I was, because they were helping me out get through bits and all that other sort of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, thanks to them, I was able to at least get to the first dungeon and even do a good chunk of it, so. But I still feel like they kind of feel like deep down, they kind of feel like failures. They're not going to tell me that, but it just feels like that whenever I came back home. And I know Louie was playing Xenoverse. Chris was already fucking gone by that time when I got back. But I don't know, I felt like Louie and Chris felt like absolute failures for, not being able to help me make it to the end, or something. I don't know. I don't know how they feel. This is just my assumptions, right? But anyways, so after I left and walked back, it was a long day after that. And I remember after Twilight, I did literally nothing after that except for just think to myself on my way there too, because I mentioned on my way there too, just think to myself, why did I even bother trying this again? I have a really bad tendency of giving stuff a second chance that I already disliked the first time. Because 9 times out of 10, right, on that game I did not like, I am usually fucking correct, right, in my judgment. And what I mean by that is I play the game, and if I really didn't like it or didn't like it, I will never pick it up again. You know, I tell myself I'll never pick it up, but then eons later, I end up picking it back up because I think something can change. And when it doesn't happen, when the change doesn't happen, and I still have the same opinion as I did before, or if not even worse, or even more so, you know, then I hate it even more. I hate that fucking thing way more than before because it's like, damn, I played you 2 to 3 different times and I still hate you. That's insane to actually like think about. But anyways, so again, after that Twilight Princess session, I was debating if I even wanted to bring it back to the store. I was gonna throw it away. I was gonna trade it in, but since it was within the 7 days, you know, that I had the game, I was able to get a full return on it and get like this random ass Zia Records card that I can use in store. Or whatever the fuck, or some stupid shit that I barely understand as it is, right? But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Twilight Princess made me feel like a fool. You know, for even trying the game out for a second time. You know, Twilight Princess made me think that I could actually do it. You know, I could actually play, maybe beat another Zelda game, and, no, I am not playing Ocarina of Time. I am talking about Twilight Princess. But Anthony Taylor, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad, you know, I'm glad you can find stuff on the channel to enjoy. But, anyways, I digress. I honestly, I feel a lot of different things, you know, when I bring up Twilight Princess. I feel some sort of weird happiness because I spent like at least a good, you know, 2 hours, you know, laughing, 3-ish hours laughing, having fun with Chris and Louie, and seeing Louie and Chris be so happy to help me out, like try to beat the game or try to help me out on stuff that I feel like just by myself I wouldn't be able to go through. And I'm extremely grateful that they even decided to help me out, knowing how I am with a lot of games and stuff like that, and they still decided to help me out anyway. So shout outs to Louie and Chris for helping me out, but the game just still, regardless, ended up being horrible, and I don't think I ever want to go through a Zelda experience again. Like, all systems moving forward. I think I'm just gonna leave the Zelda series to somebody else, somebody that can play it, appreciate its aspects, and just remember, Alan, that you had your fun when you played Zelda, you know, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, you know. Mainly Ocarina of Time, that's the one you mainly liked. Every other Zelda game you ever tried to play, you never got far, or, you know, like my Majora's Mask playthrough, which was extremely buggy and glitchy and all that other sort of shit, and weird, and characters not appearing and showing up in that one, you still ended up finishing it because, you know, you felt like you owed it to kind of play another one. But I honestly wish my Twilight Princess experience wasn't so horrible, but it was horrible. And I felt like, with Chris and Louie by my side, I felt like the inevitable was only being delayed in terms of me not liking the experience, not enjoying myself or the experience, and whatever. And I don't know if anything could have helped me enjoy the game more, other than dungeons being way shorter and cut half the content in there, and cut half the game and make that Zelda game like 3 hours. I think that'd probably be the only way for me to enjoy Twilight Princess, is if you get rid of so much of the content, make the dungeons shorter, nice and short for me to go in and get the fuck out. But yeah, that's my not horrible until it was horrible experience with Twilight Princess. I don't know. I don't think I could have done any better, in my opinion. I don't think I could have done any worse. You know, Twilight Princess ended up happening the way that it did, and all I can do is just move on. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Move on. Today's a new day. Let's let it be a new day and not regurgitate the past too much, you know? So, anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to me. Like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share the video with your friends. let me know what your experience on Twilight Princess was. Like, you can, I don't care if it's even in paragraphs. I want to know what your experience on this game was. Was it better than mine? Was it worse than mine? In some way, shape, or form. I want to know your guys' stories with Twilight Princess, and yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. I want to do Super Luigi RPG. A part of me does, but a part of me also wants to vlog talking about everything and what happened afterward, after the whole Zelda stuff and whatnot. But also a part of me wants to do Roblox. But then a part of me again wants to do Super Luigi RPG because I actually made it to where I wanted to be and where I wanted to be at. But again, I'll see you guys next time. Peace. God bless you all. Hope you guys all have a great day. And thank you guys so much for 4,079 subscribers. And thank you guys so much for watching all my shorts all the time when I upload them. It really means the world to me when you guys watch, like, my stuff and, you know, like and stuff and comment and subscribe and all that. It means a lot to me, man. And I'm thankful each and every single one of y'all are still here supporting me like 10 years later, man. Y'all are the goats, man.